back to the Sasquatch and Squirrel Show. Today, we're going to keep with our tradition of talking about the origins of shitty holidays. And no more perfect shitty holiday than Christmas. I have never been a fan of Christmas. You know, it's supposed to celebrate the birth of Jesus or whatever, but last time I checked, he was born in March, and, you know, there's a lot more to it than that, but we'll get into that a little bit later. But for me as an adult, it has become a level of nothing but consumerism and spoiled brats. How about you, Tim?
Yeah, I didn't hate Christmas growing up. I was in the whole Santa Claus spirit and all that right there as a child. My family did a really good job with me and my brother with that right there. And I honestly think that as you grow up and you get older, you realize things about Christmas and such. Not everything adds up, and you start questioning things and you find out the truth. We'll let that out later. But just like you said, the consumerism, once you become an adult, and it's just everybody's about gimme, 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 gimme. And that right there just drives me away from it. Now, I have a good family, so I enjoy being around my family around Christmas time.
Right.
And far as the holiday itself, it could bypass me and I never miss it.
Yeah, I feel the same way about it. And it's, for me, I grew up, there was a point, you know, I was youngest of 9 children, and there was a point to where all my siblings had moved out, and that's a whole different fucking episode. Anyways, so it was just me and my parents for quite some time until my biological father passed. Oh, Lawrence. I don't remember ever not having Christmas, but it wasn't, you know, I always got what I wanted because, yeah, I was a big G.I. Joe kid and all that. But anyways, the one thing that irritates me are the types of people when it comes to Christmas is, what are you getting me? You know? And it's like, and I get it. Some people joke like that. Some people don't. Or people that expect it. That's what kind of sticks in my craw about it is like you come in with your hand out, or, you know, and then they don't get you anything or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, maybe I'm just stretching that one. But, you know, I feel that when people demand something, like, you know, maybe there's a time where you're broke and you can't afford it, and someone's like, what are you getting me? And it's like, or that kind of thing. It's just the stress of it all, I think, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and just like I said, you know, this time of the year, it's incredibly taxing financially. And, you know, let's just say that you're broke as a joke, and, you know, just like you said, somebody's like, what you getting me? I don't have any money, so the answer is a brief handshake, maybe.
Maybe if you're lucky, I'll give you a hug.
Yeah, if you're lucky.
If you're lucky.
But, I mean, it's just like these days, it's like, for me, I had a lot of financial hardships growing up as an adult, and I did a lot of stupid spending, and I was learning about money and all that right there.
Right.
And, you know, if you don't have money, and let's just say, for example, like me, bankruptcy, and then somebody asks you for a gift, it's like, did you not pay attention to me having bankruptcy?
Yeah,
I don't have any money to give you anything.
Read the fucking room, dude.
Right.
Here, read my bank account. You see those zeros in it?
Yeah. I had to get rid of my house and my wife's car. I'm living here with my father.
Yeah, exactly.
So what do you want? You know?
Yeah, for sure.
For fuck's sakes, you know?
Yeah. But I guess to kind of get to the origins of Christmas, it is pagan in origin because the Christians steal everything. If I'm being honest. I mean, and it depends on which, you know, pagan or polytheistic religion you're talking to. I know that I think it has a like each different type. So it's Celt pagan or Norse pagan or whatever. So I don't know what you would call it for the Celt pagan, but for Norse it's a thing called the huntsman, which would be, you know, it's a guy's sleigh and he had a sack full of weapons, basically, is what it was. And then it's just, you know, one of those
kind of like things. This version of Santa.
Exactly. You know, it's like there was that movie a while back that had a dude from Stranger Things in it, and it was called Violent Night.
Okay.
It's where Santa Claus is like a top secret super assassin. It's fucking ridiculous, but it's great.
Sounds about as ridiculous as Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
You shut your mouth, sir. That is a goddamn masterpiece. Okay. You
I
should.
watched that movie later on after like back in the day when I was a kid, I thought it was a masterpiece myself. I watched it as an adult. I'm like, this is the cheesiest shit I've ever
That's
seen
why
in my
it's a
life.
fucking masterpiece. Because it is and the cheesiness does not go away when you get older.
It does not.
It ages into a finer cheesiness.
Like a
Okay,
fine wine.
it is. It is fantastic. That movie is perfect. And we do not on this show. We do not condemn Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
I think my wife will beg to differ. That
Sh-
movie actually scarred her for life, and now she hates clowns.
Well, I mean, a lot of people hate clowns, Tim. I'm not a fan of clowns,
Well,
but you know. Anywho, back to the Christmas thing.
right.
That's more of a Halloween topic, Tim. But thanks for
Yeah.
crossing streams, buddy.
Hey, you know,
But no, my big thing was I was never taught that Santa Claus was real. Like past age 10, my parents were like, yeah, we buy you shit, you know? And I'm like, okay, cool. Because I'd find
just
it.
kind of eased that one in, didn't they?
Yeah. Well, it was, you know, because it was after a certain age, you know, I'm not like, you're not going to get away with hiding my presents under the bed and be like, oh, what's that?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I know what it says when it has a big G.I. Joe sticker on it, you know?
Right.
But, and then he was like, yeah, we buy it for you. And we don't believe in Santa Claus, but it was just, they did it for that little bit of time when I was a kid. So I wasn't weird at school. Let me rephrase that. Any more weird than I already was.
Thanks for the clarification.
Fuck off.
So, I mean, depending on where you get the story from, Christmas itself comes from several different things.
Yeah, it's like a Frankenstein of a holiday.
Yeah. Now, from my understanding, the Bible doesn't speak of the birth of Christ. It just says that he was born.
Right. It doesn't go into like gory detail, like how, like, you know,
like the date or anything like that.
Like, well, if you read it, he was born in the time of April or March, I think, because it was during the time of census. So, and that's why everybody had to go back to their hometown to be counted for the census. So I guess Mary and Joe, or was it? Yeah, they went to, they had to go back to Bethlehem. So that's why he was born in Bethlehem. So they had to make the trek from wherever they were to, you know, to go back and to be counted. And so that wasn't anywhere near Christmas time or December. It was like 6 months after the fact or whatever it was. So
and, something that, you know, me being a musician, I kind of wonder about things.
Mm-hmm.
And the story of a little drummer boy.
Mm-hmm.
What made this kid think that playing a drum for a newborn infant was the most ideal thing to be?
Yeah. You just gave birth. Yeah, you just gave birth. Check out this fucking banger.
I mean, why not just go ahead and set off fireworks and everything?
Yeah, right. Jesus said someone, literally, she just gave birth to the Messiah, for God's sakes, and you're over here tumming it, you motherfucker.
Yeah, no wonder. I bet that kid was all big-eyed. He was over here trying to take a nap, and everybody's over here poking and prodding at him and stuff, you know?
Yeah. Like, God damn it, leave me alone. I just got here.
Or would it be me, damn it?
Valid point. Or Dad, damn it, would be better on that.
There
one.
you go.
Yeah. We found the middle ground. But
actual dad.
Do what?
Actual dad.
Actual dad. Yeah, you're not my real dad, Joe. Anyway, right. That being said, so yeah, it was definitely further. So I don't know why it was 100% settled on Christmas, but I'm pretty sure you're about to tell me.
Yeah. So was watching a little bit of this on History Channel, if you could believe them.
Yeah.
Apparently there was a time in ancient Rome. It was the celebration of the solstice, and what they were doing was calling it Saturnalia.
Yeah, it's if I'm not mistaken, it's like a 2-week festival for the god Saturn.
Yep, pretty much. And Saturn was the god of
agriculture.
Good job. Now you get a sticky star. So basically the Romans, like some of the Romans, and mostly the officials or the soldiers, worship another god called the god Mithra. And that was a sun god.
Yes.
And the birthday of Mithra was December 25th, which was the holiest day of the year for Rome.
Right.
Now,
so that makes sense because then it went from from Romans to the Roman Catholic Church, which would mean, hey, and then ding, it makes a lot of sense now.
Yeah, and apparently since Rome adopted Christianity, they also adopted that day. And it was basically the 25th was the feast day of the Nativity.
Right.
Because even they admitted they didn't really have a good handle on when he was born.
Because you have to think about it. I mean, yeah. So that's the thing. I'm going to probably piss a few people off here, but if you want to talk about, so they had a thing back then called oral tradition. So you basically were held accountable by the words out of your mouth, right? And oral tradition is things weren't necessarily written down all the time because people couldn't afford parchment and ink and a quill and all that kind of crap.
And plus, a lot of people didn't know how to read or write.
That too. It's also a giant obstacle. But anyways, so if you were judged by how you told history if you lived old long enough to be considered old, which I don't even know what. I mean, I think if you made it to 25 at this point, you were a fucking Superman. If amoebic dysentery didn't kill you,
right,
or whatever. But so the idea that they didn't have like a record of, I mean, obviously there's a bunch of people in the world, so at the time, so it's hard to probably keep track of just one person being born somewhere in a podunk town called Bethlehem.
Right, especially if they were, transplanted,
Exactly.
I was also doing some research in pretty much the same area and looking into like the origins of the Christmas tree as well, and that's deeply pagan. And the Norse people were the around the Scandinavian area and all that right there celebrated a similar type holiday by celebrating an evergreen tree, and they said it was a symbol of growth. And they brought the trees indoors, and they celebrated this by hanging an apple on the tree, which started the decorating of evergreen trees. They also burn logs as a promise of good fortune. But this particular holiday was also to bring in the sun because of the solstice and all. That time was known as Yule.
Yeah, Yule. Yeah, and it's their actually one of my good friends named Steve. He's a North Germanic pagan, and he celebrates Yule.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's different, good for him.
Yeah.
Most religions have something to celebrate this time of year, but I don't know about all of them.
Another thing I was looking into, basically what I was wanting to find out is like anything that was like traditional in the sense of Christmas. I kind of wanted to look it up and see like how it came about, like for example, mistletoe. I remember like all the time around Christmas time, my father would go up my grandparents' hill with a rifle and shoot mistletoe off of a tree. I mean, my father was a dead shot too. I mean, he couldn't read the newspaper without his glasses, but man, I wouldn't want to be on the end of a, rifle scope with him because he could do it, man.
Right.
But apparently we could thank the Druids for that. And they believed it was a sacred healing plant. It was hung from oak trees, so it was considered growing from one of the strongest trees. And it was a symbol of peace and healing. Of course, the English churches thought of it as pagan and banned the use of it.
Right. But it's also apparently, from what I've read, is a parasitic plant too.
It is.
So it probably has something ugly in it. And I also think it's poisonous, if I'm not mistaken.
It is very poisonous. Absolutely. Yeah. Especially the berries. Don't eat it.
No, please. And then I don't. So what's the whole kiss under the mistletoe thing? Do you do anything about that?
The thing is I couldn't really find anything under it, but it's basically, I'm sure there's something out there that has it, but when several stories start to get a little bit muddy, it's questionable of its origins.
Yeah, of course.
But this right here is, as I said, it's just one of the few things that it's really hard to find any information on. But
anything trustable, anyways.
Yeah. Because then you start looking at mistletoe. Next thing you know, you have that shit showing up in your cart for like ordering on Amazon.
Right. Well, the thing that I researched more than the actual origin of Christmas was the origin of Santa Claus.
There we go.
Saint Nick was a patron saint that was about to be decanonized by the church because he hadn't performed any miracles in a long time.
Well, damn it to him.
God damn it, you lazy.
All right.
Anyways, so, and Coca-Cola, this is after they took the cocaine out of their drink. they realized that their drink was only being sold mostly in the summer.
Okay.
They wanted to devise a way to, increase profits on the in the winter months. So they figured out they come up with some brainstorm thing where they had a guy that came up with the idea of putting him in a red suit, giving him a jolly look, and it worked because it was all marketing and all that. So that's basically where a lot of the Santa Claus stuff that we see today came from.
Yeah.
Was because of Coca-Cola Company.
That's one story that I know of. Another story, it does check out with the whole bishop thing. Apparently, the anniversary of his death was on 12/6. So
Yes.
December 6th was his anniversary of his passing, and it became known as St. Nicholas Day.
Yes.
And on this day, it was celebrated similar to the way that we celebrate our Christmas. Children will wake up to gifts, and it was supposedly from this saint. Now, bad children woke up to no gifts. So I think this was more of a cautionary, to get children to behave thing,
Right.
And apparently 1,500 years later in America, a professor named Clement Clark Moore reimagined the legend of St. Nick in 1822. He wrote a poem known as The Night Before Christmas. Now, we all know the story of the night before Christmas, and we have Santa Claus being towed by reindeer and dropping gifts off in everybody's home, and supposedly a loving character. But what was unclear was his looks. And later, in 1863, a cartoonist named Thomas Nast for Harper's Weekly drew up his version of Santa Claus, and this became the Santa Claus we all know and love today. Which I'm sure somewhere in there that Coca-Cola story worked its way in there as well.
Right.
Kind of refining them a little bit more to more the cherub looking face,
Yeah. So here, this is from bigcommerce.com. It says how Coca-Cola invented the father of Christmas, or did they? And I'll just do a little brief thing here.
Sure.
Since history has offered many representations of Father Christmas, who has appeared in a range of clothing and colors over time. Perhaps the most famous portrayal, however, is that of St. Nicholas of Myra, the 4th century bishop, depicted in familiar red robes. The popular myth of Father Christmas owes his appearance to Coca-Cola. The portly, statured, bushy beard, red outfit is not entirely accurate. Rather, the Santa Claus image you recognize today was the image portrayed by Haddon Sundblom. Fuck.
That's a freaking
That's
handle.
a weird name. For Santa's first appearance in a cola advertising in 1931, drawing inspiration from St. Nicholas's image. There you go.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So just like everything else, we have no fucking clue how this all plays out. It's
exactly
just a fucking mutt holiday. Then
it is
just got pieced
just
together.
a crapshoot. Yeah, 100% a crapshoot. I mean, and it's the thing though. Like, we can talk about this a little bit, but it's like how the Catholic Church, when Constantine, when he became emperor of Rome, because he was a Christian, he made them adopt the religion of Christianity, and so because I think it was part of. I'm probably wrong, but if I do believe that if the people had to be the same religion as the emperor, so that's why that's why the whole of Italy converted to, or the whole of Rome converted to Christianity.
Interesting.
Which I think is a terrible thing, but yet again, that's for a discussion for another time.
I guess for this episode, for me, it's like I found it very interesting doing the research on this one about the Saturnalia thing and how December 25th was the date, because I was always curious why the 25th of all days. Why the 25th?
I'd never known that either. I just thought it was they just threw a dart,
throw a dart
at
a
wall or something. Yeah, or I guess in their case it'd be a spear.
There you go.
But whatever.
And of course, the Christmas tree. I mean, I knew that was pagan, but I didn't really know how it came about. So it's kind of interesting to know that, and the word Yule. I mean, fuck's a Yule,
Right. Exactly.
Just interesting.
Yeah.
Our holidays, basically, we pull things in from other things. It's kind of like, other holidays like St. Patrick's Day and like Valentine's Day, stuff like that. We pull all these things in, and what we celebrate today, it was nothing what it was back in the day, or what it was even thought of, you know?
Right. Correct. Well, and that's the other problem with it is I think that's why some people have an issue with Christianity in general, is because there's nothing original about it. You know, I mean, because it's as far as like the holidays and stuff are concerned. I shouldn't say Christianity. I should say a problem with the holidays, because no one knows their true origins, and you know, it's like Easter. Easter is, you know, yet again based off of a pagan fertility holiday.
Yeah.
So it all comes full circle and all that kind of crap.
Yeah. And then on top of that too, I mean, the Bible, it shares stories that was in other religions. Like every religion has a flood myth, you know?
Yeah.
We say
Yeah.
myth because there's
We don't-
evidence
well,
of it, but we don't really know.
Right.
Of course, you
Yeah,
know,
we don't know which religion the flood came from. You know what I mean?
right. Or what caused it. I mean, Younger Dryas is thought of being this flood, but
Mhm.
could it have been the flood of the entire world, or was it just a single part of the world in that area? I mean, it could have just
Right.
been, I mean, most of these stories are European. However,
Mhm.
it could have hit other places too. So,
Correct.
I mean,
Yeah.
even the Chinese and the Japanese and you know, the Asian religions, of course, but every religion has a flood.
Yeah. So there you go.
And from us, from Sasquatch and Squirrel to you, we wish you a Merry Christmas.
Or whatever doesn't offend you.
There you go. Now, I do have a question for you, sir.
42.
Where can they find us?
God damn. See that was a bait and switch. That's not cool. All right.
Had to get it in there.
Man, that's what she said.
Yeah.
Anyways, X, Truth Social, YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, your mom's house, and that's it. All the questions.
Find the truth.